Hello everybody and welcome to episode 23 of the Halving Report. I am Brad Mines, your host. The price of Bitcoin is about 6,900 American dollars. There's about 31 days left until the next Bitcoin halving. Timestamp that at 9:45 p.m. Eastern on April 11th, 2020. In these very stressful times, it is important we take time to be grateful for the things that we have, the people we love, and focus on our health. Today, we have a naturalist and herbalist on the show. Azmyth Kaminski has a very interesting acting and creative history. He has had many roles, such as in the popular sitcom show How I Met Your Mother, the TV reality show Pirate Master, and also had a part in Pirates of the Caribbean, just to name a few. Furthermore, Azmyth has founded the EMP store. EMP stands for Everyday Natural Products. That's EMPstore.com, where he sells a plethora of cannabis and mushroom extracts. These products are great for helping people reach their individual health goals and can help assist you with things such as your immune system efficiency, stress, anxiety, cancer treatment, and much, much more. Please, everyone, welcome Azmyth Kaminski to the show.
How are you, man? Watching some of your videos on Instagram, and I see like you're the one video, your grocery stores.
Yeah.
It's a super big lineup all the way down around the building, and at like 8 in the morning. My first question for you is, how has COVID, besides the grocery lines, I know that part, how has COVID-19 impacted you or your environment around you?
The environment is interesting, right? It's very similar to everywhere else. Washington is somewhat locked down, although it's a Friday today, so there's a lot of people out. I was picking up some stuff for our lab. Personally, I find it amazing because I love the space and the time, and even though I'm an extrovert, I definitely do stay in the lab a lot, making formulations and such, so it works out great for me. It is interesting to see. I just went to Home Depot earlier, and Home Depot was not blown out as bad on the weekends. There's a line, a lot of people are wearing masks. I'm done wearing the mask and the gloves at this point because I have my own thoughts around this whole ridiculous scenario. I was playing the game for a second, but I don't want new social norms to come in. That really shouldn't be there. Anyways, Home Depot, a couple other places, Costco, obviously the video that I did on Instagram at Costco, that was at 8 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to be there earlier. There was already 50 people in line, and by the time that we went in at 9:30 or 10 when they opened up, it was like Star Wars, waiting in line for Star Wars. It was all the way around the back side of the building, probably going to the other end of the corner. It's definitely affecting people. I'm sure it's far worse in places like LA, where it's even more mass crowded. I don't know how it's in Seattle. I live about 30 miles north of Seattle, so it's a little bit more in the outskirts. And we're pretty rural up here in Washington in general. There's a lot more trees.
For sure.
But yeah, it's interesting. I find the time amazing. Just the fact that people are going outside and walking on the streets and waving their hands and saying hello a little bit more, whether they're doing the distancing or not.
Yeah, well, that's good. I like that aspect of it, that things are being humanized a little bit more. But you said you had your own thoughts on things, and you don't like to kind of conform to the social norms or the new social norms. Can I probe you a little bit more about that and what you mean by having your own thoughts on the situation, like separate from, I don't know, I guess a mainstream narrative? Is that what we're talking about?
Definitely not the mainstream narrative. I will listen to that a little bit, of course. It's good to take in both sides of the story, right? I'm the type that dances.
So what's the other side? What's the other side?
Yeah, right. We all know what the soft side, the regular mass media side is. So the other side is I'm going to say the big C word, and I'm not going to add theory to it. But the fact that there are conspiracies and have been conspiratorial actions going on for hundreds of years. Every single war that has been started was conspired to start for some reason, right? So we'll just preface it with that. Right now we're talking about, hey, do you like your government or not? Really don't like it because it doesn't serve the people, which is us. We are the ones actually in power, although we have obviously forgotten that. So now we go to the ideas of, I'm gonna put it like this, all right? I put a post out the other day. I'm a super positive person. Doesn't mean just because it says be the light on my Facebook page that it doesn't mean that I will shine some light, some much needed light, and highlight that dark, right? So the other night, and I walk a very fine line with what I decide to say, because the areas that I live in, since I have a history in Hollywood and some other interesting things, and I work with a lot of kids, and I work with a lot of families, I'm very even-keeled individual. So I don't want to just go off the deep end. I look into all those crazy things and ideas that have gone on one side and the other side. So anyways, the other night I dropped this simple post. I say, please, in this time, I would suggest that you pay attention to these two things. I said 5G and I said Bill Gates. And after that, I said there's a lot of amazing things going on in the world. We know that there's been a lot of really detrimental things happening for a very long time, things going on behind the scenes, but there's a lot of great things happening now. And I just want to let everybody know about that. Please pay attention in these times to these two two things. And of course, the barrage of comments, 105 comments later, a lot of those are mine, responding to people, but a lot of those comments were people literally going, "Are you serious? You're one of those people? Man, I got to defriend you now." I didn't say anything other than pay attention to these two things. You're the one who's adding an opinion to this. So it's really interesting to see this as a social experiment, what's going on out there right now, because people are so very reactive to what somebody says instead of responding, or instead of just thinking about and asking a question. Why do you think that? Don't you want to know, instead of just going, "That's some crazy shit. I can't believe you would think that." Whatever that is, whatever you're implying, I didn't imply anything. I just said pay attention to technology and an individual, right? So it's really funny to see what happens when we don't even go down those rabbit holes, right? When you want to go down a rabbit hole, you're going to get all kinds of madness happening, and people that will not even have debates, they will argue, right? And that's the huge difference between reaction and response.
Right, and I've seen those things not just on your page, but all over Twitter and everywhere else about 5G and the implementation of it. And there's personally, I don't know if there's a correlation between 5G and COVID-19, but there's a lot of corporations that are definitely trying to use this situation for their benefit. So that's where I kind of see it. Like you said, at least we're paying attention. In terms of Bill Gates, he's obviously a longtime billionaire philanthropist who's got his hands in every single pot. Any big organization, Bill Gates probably has some sort of, he's connected somehow, right? But Azmyth, before we get too deep, I want to put some context for my listeners. Ben, like you said, you had a Hollywood background. I know you were on a CBS show called Pirate Mask. Yeah, and so what's it like to be on a TV reality show, and what other things? I know you've been in a couple of movies as well. Maybe just for my listeners, you can give us just a brief background of of your history.
Give you a foundation of who I am, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably wouldn't say a Hollywood necessarily vibe, but I've always been rather eccentric. So I came through art school in this little town, Snohomish, where I'm back up in right now, and went to art college, dropped out of art college, became a DJ, did the DJ thing, threw raves, went to Burning Man, decided to move the hell out, changed things in 205, went to LA, tried to get to San Diego, landed in LA, got into that scene DJing, and then one fateful night with a girlfriend that I had at the time, I had long dreadlocks at the time, ever since I was 13, and at that point they said, "Hey, Sandilease is casting, so you should go down and check it out if you want to be in Pirates of the Caribbean." That sounds like fun. Thought I smoked way too much pot back in the day to memorize a single line, so it wasn't even a thought, but it sounds like fun. So I go down there, 2 weeks later, I'm suited and booted, going up to Palmdale, looking at the Flying Dutchman, the Black Pearl, big gimbals, crazy things happening, shooting this stuff. I do 3 more days on that set, and it's my very first acting job. I get bumped up to getting hung in the very first opening scene of number 3 within the first 10 seconds, and I get all my SAG vouchers. So then it points me in a direction of that at that time new media didn't exist, so it was really hard for a lot of people to get their SAG vouchers, or many years of waiting for that one role on that TV show. So I kind of got pushed in that direction, did background for a year, was very intoxicated one night on some psychedelia stuff, and I saw acting for what I understand it to be as humans being in control of their vessel so very much that they can let something else come through. And from that point on, I was like, you know what, I'm going to find out what this thing's all about. So then I got into acting classes and did a little bit of that, and did Pirate Master shortly after Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously the dreadlocks, and that was fun. Came up here, did a little commercial for my parents' furniture shop at the time. That fell into some movies, ended up falling into producing a couple films, which was kind of a weird joke, but I learned a lot that I can still use right now for production-wise. And I stayed down there in LA, did a lot of new media, was on a lot of random TV shows, Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirate Master, How I Met Your Mother. I got a moment on Parks and Recreation that people really know with Ron, and those are bit parts, dude. I'm not trying to inflate that stuff, not like a headlines or any of that stuff. I was a regular on a lot of shows and bartending or whatever it was.
What would be your favorite pastime, or maybe the most fun you had on a set?
My favorite show, that's an interesting thing. I mean, I've got to say Pirate Master, just because that was the most epic adventure that I've ever been on.
Yeah, I heard you killed it on Pirate Master in terms of the activities, like that kind of thing. Like you were the guy, winning challenges and stuff like that. Like you made it pretty far. Like episode 9, was it?
Yeah, until they took me out, until they changed the rules and said that the captain doesn't have any first or second mate to protect them anymore from mutiny, and then somebody threw the race or threw the expedition, and then after that they're like, nope, he's gone. Got to get rid of this guy.
Just like that, eh? Wow.
Oh yeah, it happened really quick, and we had a lot of fun. It was amazing. That show, Mark Burnett's brainchild. I wish they would have actually just shot it like they wanted to instead of trying to make it like Survivor, because they really shot it in the foot. That's why it got moved on air, and then it got canceled. It had higher numbers than Survivor did when it started, and it was a reality fantasy show. It was so fun, dude. But whatever, that was a time in life.
Yeah, for sure. Where can people find that stuff online?
I think they scrapped a lot of that. You might be able to find little pieces with Cameron Data, who is the host. Little intros I know are online, but there's not. There used to be a whole page. You can find our Wikipedia for sure. Hopefully I can upload it at one point. It was like I wanted to go raid the CBS studios and pull all that footage that they didn't release that was just amazing and juicy.
Yeah, no, I was trying to find all that stuff, like especially Pirate Master. I was trying to actually find the full episodes to watch, but like I couldn't find it anywhere online. I found a few clips on YouTube, but other than that, I couldn't really find it.
I'll have to upload them on my YouTube channel at some point. Maybe change something or put little blocks in it, maybe so people can watch it and it doesn't come up as it doesn't flag.
Yeah. There could be some issues there, I guess, with them, and I'm not sure how they.
Even though it's our likeness, I think we should partially own it together. That'd be nice, but that's not how these corporate son of a guns work.
Exactly, yeah. I want to thank you for all the sample products you gave me. Super grateful. I've really been into the lion's mane the last week, kind of taking the radical dose to try to see, because I've never really taken mushroom extract. But to be honest with you, you gave me a really clear head, which is nice. Now, are all these products that you sent, are all these new in your EMP store?
Not all of them. The one product I think that would be new that I sent you is probably the EMP Immunity Elixir. That's the newest one we just dropped. Perfect timing during this crazy storm. And then it was an idea related to the big C. That's cancer, not conspiracy. About a year ago, and then I was formulating in my head because reishi and vitamin C kick its ass. So there was that. And then 6 months ago, I started playing with teas and just working out, bringing some different inputs in. And 2 months ago, about almost 3 months ago now, is when I actually started formulating it and putting it together. And so now this product has been released onto the market. We got a CBD version coming out with 5 ounces, and it's literally helping people disappear fevers overnight. Kids are waking up without runny noses or coughs anymore. It's pretty cool. We've seen some pretty amazing responses to this because it's 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C in a pump, which are the way that it's usually dosed out. Besides the smaller bottles, is it's regulated for the coffee shops and espresso stands, and so we have a pump that goes into it, quarter ounce, dosed into a drink, whatever it is, and in that quarter ounce, there's 2,000 milligrams of that colloidal silver. There is vitamin E for one of our emulsifiers, and then elderberry and reishi tincture. So it's supercharged, super powerful. Tastes pretty good if you like warheads. And
who doesn't like warheads,
right? And dude, I tell you actually, at least when I was drinking it a lot every single day, I'm taking a little break right now, I was getting high off the vitamin C. Or whatever the concoction was. There's a buzz that you get when you start getting so much vitamin C in your system. It's really interesting. It's very intriguing, actually. It gives you energy. It works on the mitochondrial level of actually providing your mitochondria with ATP production, which is pretty cool. It's part of that process.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people with, everyone's got high stress right now, high anxiety. So is that the product that you would recommend for people, with cortisol buildup and things that could be caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the fear around it? Is that something that one of your main products that you would recommend for folks?
I would say that's more for keeping the immune system, and I've never said it like this, but keeping the immune system modulated, because you don't necessarily want it to boost, you don't necessarily want it to suppress. You want it to be able to work with your system depending on where it needs to go. But for your question with anxiety, that can go in a couple different directions, because we have our lion's mane, which you're taking, which is awesome. That works on the nervous system, the brain, the stomach, the skin. And so since the nervous system goes everywhere, touches the brain, that's going to calm your nerves, amongst a lot of other things. So that one's great for that. And just that clear-headed, it's getting all the synapses firing properly, neurons, everything's just lining up great. Really amazing for autoimmune disorders, especially MS. It helps remyelinate the myelin sheaths along our nerve endings. That's pretty cool. And then our CBD elixir is amazing. That actually is one of the drinks for the add-ons in the drink and barista category, and that water soluble that we created from scratch. We didn't know what we were doing, but it turned out to be an amazing product. And it's, obviously we did, but I don't have a background in organic chemistry or biology. So I'm learning as I go on everything. And anyways, that combats the cortisol when you get it pumped into your coffee. It's amazing. That's what CBD actually does, is it combats the cortisol spike that happens from all the caffeine when you drink too much coffee, pretty much, right? Or even stress in general. That's another reason why it calms us down throughout our day. So that's a great one. And then obviously our sprays, we have human and pet sprays and droppers as well. So it's CBD in general with the C8 oils, our carrier oil, which is a really super bioavailable, very, very helpful oil for us as well. Yeah.
And now one of the bottles or one of the products that you sell, like the pet CBD, like there's no difference between that CBD and the regular daily use CBD products, right?
Ain't nothing, man. We just slapped a different label on it. Sell it as the same.
I caught you.
And that's what I love about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of our products is that they're so gentle, they're so simple in the ingredients that they end up being really valuable for animals, vertebrates, or you or your kids, grandmother. But yeah, that is, you hit it on the head. It's just another label. C8 oil is amazing for digestion, great for cognitive performance as well. It's used it helps create ketones, and so it's great for ketogenic diets and can help people not eat as much. So it's great for animals, especially because they have stomach issues a lot that we don't even know about. Great for the coat. So yeah, there you go. I mean, it's pretty awesome stuff. We love it.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have 2 mushroom extracts, and the one that I've been trying is the lion's mane, but you have another one on there. So I was wondering if there's a difference between the two and what differences that they have.
Yeah, there's going to be a difference between any mushrooms. There's going to be a little bit of crossover with everything for sure. The one that I may not have sent up is a reishi tincture. That's actually one of the ones that we helped heal my dad's big C when me and Matt, my business partner, now actually started working together on this company. That reishi mushrooms are amazing. The Chinese government, insurance will actually cover it. Chinese government actually recognizes it as a cancer cure. Just saying it's a China thing. All right, just letting everybody know out there. Says a lot about what's going on in America. So that is really amazing for the immune system. All medicinal mushrooms have their specialty. Most of them are immunomodulators, which again I had already said goes up or down regulate. But each one has their specialty. Reishi's mushrooms specialty is the immune system, along with helping protect organs, clean the blood, a little bit of a nootropic since blood goes to the brain. Really, really amazing product, but it takes a little bit longer for you to feel the effects later on, say about a week, unless you're really sick, about a week or 2 later after taking a quality dose every day. You might notice that you're sleeping better. You might notice that there's just a better feeling of well-being, more balanced feeling. So there is that, and then the lion's mane, obviously, is just a supercharger. I love that because there's some people, I take it almost every day. Some people take it and feel a change almost immediately. And then some people, it takes them an hour. Maybe they're working on a task and just realizing they're, like you said, more calm. They're more collected. Things seem to move a little smoother. And number 3 that we haven't released yet, but we're working on the formulas now. Cordyceps are kind of a pain in the butt to get. I do have an organic source now. We're going to have to start growing our own stuff this year because it's really hard to actually get organic. 1, 2, they're way overpriced. 3, there's hardly anybody that produces them. 4, most of them come from China. And so we're at least getting inputs in, testing out what the formulas look like, making sure that it actually works. Cordyceps are amazing for energy. Cordyceps have been used traditionally for thousands of years over in Tibet. Very highly prized by royalty. Militaris is the one that we get. That's the one that can actually be grown in a lab. The one that is traditionally used, that also grows down in the Amazon. I've been offered kilos of the stuff down there. It's a parasite. You probably heard about it before. It's a parasitic fungus that will actually, I guess it likes moths a lot, at least over in the east, but it'll use caterpillars or other creatures, other little insects, and infect them, turn them into zombies, and tell them where to go and then grow through them, or just use a pupa that's in stasis and actually use it as its food and start growing these mushrooms from it. So when you see the raw mushrooms, it's literally a chunk of worm, a caterpillar that has these weird growths coming out. It's the closest thing that we can get to Spaceballs. And
is there a lot of red tape in retrieving these products? Like, you're getting it from all over the world, it seems like. So, I mean, is there some sort of U.S. regulations that kind of constricts you from retrieving these products at all, or is it a simple process?
The FDA, you want to bring them into this, man? Hey, but those guys are right. Those guys are, I'm not even going to say it. You already know what I'm going to say. So, there's not a lot of red tape when it comes to mushrooms. Just in general, I'll use this story as a preface to mushrooms, which are edible and used internally. Shungite's a stone that we're working with our buddy Derek Condit. He Shungite bee guy, known as up north. Anyways, the Shungite, I think it comes from Karelia over in Russia. It was a meteor that fell thousands of years ago, a couple 100,000 years ago actually, and it's got these deposits, and it's amazing for cleansing water. It's great for fending off EMFs, a lot of great things, right? And so we have a powder form of it. We put it in the honey that he makes, and we're going to be making one with CBD here shortly. We want to put it in the honey, but we want to put that out on the market, right? So I had to call the FDA and go, all right, so I got this mineral that, it's not silver. Silver's totally cool, right? Colloidal silver. But they never heard about it. And of course they say, well, you can submit it to the FDA for approval, and then they may approve it. I'm going, yeah, that's not going to happen because we're not going to spend millions of dollars on this. Or you can do GRAS, GRAS, generally recognized as safe. And you just say that and prove it yourself and put out enough documentation on something and say that there is enough proof that it has been used such a way and has been beneficial for such things. So that being said, jumping over to the mushrooms, no, there's not really a lot of red tape. There's not a lot of red tape with a lot of things because the FDA doesn't actually approve food products. The FDA approves, obviously, drug products. That's why CBD is so screwed up right now, because it was cleared up for a second, and then it sounds like there was a backdoor deal that went on between GW Pharma and GW Pharma and the FDA to allow them to make, but it's a seizure medicine, and they allowed it to go through in a backdoor deal. So it became a drug. And then something that's a food additive can't be used in foods anymore if it's now used as a drug, right? So they screwed over CBD, even though it hadn't been approved as a food additive. It was almost there, and then they slapped it up. So going back to mushrooms again, with mushrooms, we go out and forage our reishi mushrooms. They're actually Ganoderma appellatum out here. There's Ganoderma organensis and a couple others out there that people use. And this is the one that's one of the most prevalent ones around here. So we go out and wild forage those ourselves, and then we dry them, wood chip them, and then put them into organic cane alcohol, soak them, and do our processing. And then the lion's mane actually comes from a organic culinary farm out of BC currently. Really cool, great stuff. Great for eating too. That one, the other one, reishi, is very woody, right? So it's not very edible. Great for teas. The lion's mane is actually a culinary mushroom, so you can chop it up, throw it in your soups, fry that sucker. Whatever you put in, whatever flavors you put in, it soaks up. It's really amazing. And then again, if you do eat too much of the lion's mane, I've had my brain hurt many times because whenever we get a new fresh batch, and I always eat a little cloud. They're little puffy, little funny looking things. So I always eat a little cloud, and you can feel that sucker working on your brain. It seriously will, it pains a little bit because it's working so hard. But yeah, there's not really any red tape around that stuff. It's really, as long as you're keeping within certain requirements, right? There's a certain amount of alcohol. Now, it's not a drink. We have a bigger bottle, that our Lion's Mane Elixir, that goes into these drink stands, but the dosage is at a quarter ounce again, so it's not a drink to be consumed in one serving, right? So you are allowed to have a certain amount. We're at 15% right now. It's 1 to 6 ratio water to alcohol, and so that's at 15% alcohol. So we're underneath a certain level. Now, obviously, when you get to a certain higher level of your company, you got to go through a little bit more rigmarole and hoops, but we're not quite there yet. We're just starting to really get known a little bit more across the country. We're pretty darn well known in Washington and on the West Coast now.
So when people think of mushrooms and they think of indulging them, they think of the hallucinogens that come along with it. Are the mushrooms that you're working with, do they possess these types of traits, and you're just extracting other things from it, or are these separate from that type of mushroom?
You ask a very good question, and we do have a banner when we go to shows that says CBD and mushrooms, and the laughs we get and the attractions we have oftentimes are exactly what you're talking about. Those are medicinal as well, of course. Everything that comes from the earth is pretty much medicinal when we look at it. These are not. Lion's mane, since it works on the brain, is amazing as a stack, along with niacin, supposedly thanks to Paul Stamets, and some other things. We're actually going to be working on a pretty interesting stack. I'm going to look into their research that they have done, and then look at the actual actions that are happening inside our body, our brain at different times, what's released, how can we support those things, just like dopamine and ecstasy, certain things like that, serotonin. How do you help it move along better? How do you empower it a little bit more? Vitamin C has always been really good for hallucinogens, people know. So yeah, these don't. Lion's mane is helpful for that stack. Psychedelic mushrooms are amazing. Got to talk about that just for a second. And Washington will probably be one of the, they'll probably jump on board after everybody else is gone, right? Colorado's already tried to do it. California has tried to do it. It didn't work. Oregon's probably, it has worked in Colorado. They have decriminalized it, right? So as long as you're not slanging the shit or overproducing, I'm guessing, but at least they're able to start using it for medicinal purposes, for research purposes. I'm already starting to see lysergic acid down on products in California. So obviously MAPS other programs like that, they are already allowed to do that because they're working with the government, or at least in that procedural realm. They're allowed to actually go through and test these things in a clinical environment. So it's super cool, man. I mean, like, talk about one of the most amazing times to be alive with freaking COVID and nuttiness going on in our world. And we got, psychedelics are starting to open up a little bit. Marijuana is about to be totally decriminalized and freed. Every single plant on the planet needs to be freed because it's a freaking joke. I don't know of a better time to be alive. I want to know if I'm reincarnated. Sure I am, but I've never had a past life regression. I want to know what it was like, but man, I am so freaking glad I'm here right now because it's such a juicy time to be alive.
Yeah. I often say, like, the present is always the best time to be alive. A lot of people say, you know what, I would rather be living in whatever, the 1800s or this and that, or before we had internet and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, you know what, no matter what you say, the present is always the best time to be alive with everything that we have going on, because there's just more information, there's more product, there's more openness to things like we're talking about right now. Well, one thing you said earlier was about how China recognizes some medicines as a cancer cure, but Western societies doesn't. Is there something that Asian culture or China culture understands about natural medicine that there's a misconception in Western society?
The answer is yes all day, and we're talking about every other tradition on the planet does. It's only us who decided to come over here as a melting pot and make our own world that doesn't have a history. There's no culture of it, right? Traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, Ayurvedic medicine over in India. I mean, these systems go back, if not tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. If you go to Ayurveda, the stuff that you're talking about in India, I mean, they go back in like I don't even know the words for it, dude. They go back trinities.
Right.
And so around the whole world, like, they all work with plant medicine. We work with combo. I love combo. I do combo every single weekend, once a weekend, because I'm training right now because I want to know it best I possibly can. I don't know if you know about combo, but it comes from the Amazon, right? It's a frog medicine. It's not psychedelic. It's one of the quickest and amazing, most detoxes I've ever seen, and I know how amazing it's worked for so many people, so I really want to be able to provide that service to a lot of people. And so I've been training since the beginning of the year. I've been doing it for a couple of years now with my buddy Bryce, who runs Combo Healing Me. So yeah, there's so much knowledge. This planet is rife with content we don't even know. If COVID is really real, what it is that they're trying to say it is, even though they don't understand what the hell it is as a virus, there's an answer in the plant kingdom. I guarantee one plant can solve, besides a whole cornucopia or some kind of formulation of multiple plants. There's some phytochemical out there, combination, some cocktail in a plant that can be used. If it's the Matses tribes down there or whoever it is, putting it into a boiling pot and extracting it and having you drink it. Now you have to believe it too. You have to trust, because healing happens because we believe it, because we know it. Our cells listen to us. And if we're not telling our cells that we're happy and healthy, and we're telling them that we're sad, negative, distrusting, all these other things, they're listening to us and they're just poo-pooing on themselves all day, like you're poo-pooing on yourself. So we gotta be positive too. That's part of the process. Man, they got it together over in China, I'll tell you. In that way.
Right. So you think there's some natural medicines out there that could definitely help combat COVID-19, and do you think that could possibly overlap multiple different types of plants?
I guarantee it. I am not an herbalist specialist. I study a lot of different herbs. I soak up as much as I possibly can, but I don't have a history or a schooling in that other than the last few years and just working with stuff with herbs, working out and such things. So I guarantee there is. Mother Nature has an answer for every single thing humans can throw at ourselves. It's time and time again, it has been proven. All the chemicals that we see out there on the commercials that give you freaking anal leakage, that make you have suicidal thoughts, that whatever these weird combinations are, and then you have to have another one to take care of that one. All those things were originally extracted from a plant. Now they took that, because a patent, right? You got to patent it. Well, you can't patent nature, thankfully, although people are freaking trying to.
Yeah.
They're definitely patenting viruses, I gotta let you know. So they are, when you take and extract this one thing that you think you are in a lab, or that you think that you're after in a lab, they take it out and then they test it on lab rats and animals and in vitro, and they end up finding out that oftentimes it doesn't work. Maybe they'll find mechanisms that actually have a result that they're looking for, but in the end, oftentimes they do not work, or they work, but they have so many freaking side effects, a la commercials. The problem is that they're taking an extract. Thankfully, it doesn't happen with CBD or THC or any of these other cannabinoids. They work very well on their own. It's a misconception that they do not, and they need to be in conjunction with each other. Yes, there is something called you could say, I like to say ensemble, not what's the other one? The entourage effect, because it's everybody working together. THC is not the leader. It is not an entourage like the TV show. So the idea of a full spectrum coming together instead of an extract, right, being pulled out that does not have the rest of the plant's phytochemicals, nutrients, flavonoids, lipids, all these other amazing nutrients to support it, to help you do what you want to do, to get what you need to make you healthy. Why does ayahuasca work so well with a couple other plants? Because it's just a concoction. They're putting it into a formula of a soup, pretty much, and they're boiling it down. They're decocting this thing. And so when you do that, you get all of that magic together, right? And I'm not saying that isolates don't work great. We use isolates in our products. It's just oftentimes it's for a different reason. There's a different energy around it. You're not just trying to profit off people's sickness, and that would be the pharmaceutical companies.
Now, you mentioned ayahuasca. I've been recommended to do it
Hey.
with a little bit of caution. I had a friend that went down to South America and he went through the ceremonial. What's your experience with that? Has it been eye-opening, or has it showed you, kind of how to live your life in any way?
Ayahuasca, I can honestly say I've never actually worked with before.
Oh.
Tons of friends that have. I've never actually gone down to the Amazon yet or taken it. I've definitely been offered up here, but when something doesn't feel right, I do not at this point in my life ever run towards anything just because I want to experience it. When it comes into the right timing, I will love to do it, because I took high school literally 5 days a week back then, and I've done so much, had so much fun, experienced so much. I was just high doing art the whole freaking time, pretty much. And so I've gone to those limits with mushrooms and other things. Now I really like to take my time with those things and experience them a little bit more. What is my opinion of ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is amazing. The people that go down and do it, the people that do it anywhere, when they are ready and prepared to experience a life-changing event like that, there is, supposedly it is said, going further, there's also, I'm just going to jump into iboga for a second, ibogaine. Iboga is going deeper. So different plant medicines have different essences besides this plant spirits that work with you specifically. I mean, there's Mother Ayahuasca. Mother Aya is what they say. The grandmother continues to come to you, right? And you can have beautiful, fun laugh sessions. You can have scary, crazy, intense sessions, and each one's different. It's always different. But as you work with it, I guess, it becomes easier, obviously, as anything does when you're in that medium. And everybody that I've ever met that has done it are pretty amazing people. I don't think I've ever met anybody that hadn't had major changes, major evolutions happening to them afterwards, and been more of an evolved person since once I met them at that point. It's amazing. It really is. And if you have the opportunity, definitely with caution, definitely when it feels right, I would highly suggest it, that or whatever else it is that you may partake in that is in that realm. It's DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is one of the active ingredients in that. And it's a very long, extended version of dimethyltryptamine instead of, say, bufo or NMDMT. These ones that you smoke these crystals and it launches you out within a second, and then you come back, anywhere from 5, it's really short, but 5 to a half an hour later.
Switching gears a little bit on you, you sent me something with the S4 sticker, and from my understanding, you put it on your phone, and it's supposed to protect you from waves from your cell phone and I guess radiation. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so RF frequencies, obviously everything gives off that. We were talking about our voices. It's kind of a radio frequency too, isn't it? Everything has hertz, everything has a different wave patterns, and it goes back to the shungite. That little S4 sticker, we're going to be making our own here in a second with Derek, the shungite bee guy, and it's a great little sticker. You can stick it on the back of your phone, you can just set it into the case, up to you, but they're amazing. You actually get a millihertz, a frequency meter, for EMFs, and take it next to it. You will see that when you don't have the sticker by your phone at all, tried it on my mom's phone, obviously it's going to be different with every model of phone, but it was rating at around 7 on the RF field, and then the second we put the sticker onto it, it went down to about a 1.2. So it truly blocks a lot of the frequencies that are coming out. It doesn't matter which way it's on. It puts out a spread, a sphere probably, I'm guessing, around it. And so in that there is shungite and there is silver. And the shungite is, a lot of people know what shungite is, one of the highest, I think the highest concentrations of carbon on the planet. And so it's buckyballs, Buckminster Fuller, fullerene, C60. And so even NASA uses this stuff, although my buddy Derek, he actually buys their stuff from him and throws it away because it's synthetic. It's not the real thing. And they actually buy stuff from him, supposedly. Really, really crazy stuff. I mean, just the fact that this meteor fell from outer space a long time ago, and it's here on the planet to help us save things. Okay, you want to go into saving things. The main reason that I have got into it, other than wearing a triangle around my neck of it, keeping harmonized, is that that we're getting ready to do bees this year. And so they started finding out that EMFs, let's go into EMFs for a second, 5G, 3G. I highly suggest anybody watching or listening to this, go look up, and it's on YouTube for free. Watch Resonance Beings of Frequency. This was made in 2013, I think it was, when 3G was out. 4G was about to come out. The things that they say then are ridiculous to what it was affecting. Supposedly, what it does, and there's millihertz, these different hertz waves. They're supposed to be getting faster and smaller. Whatever it is, it's affecting the magnetic pole, the frequencies in the air. Right. A lot of our animals, like you see beaches with dead birds on them. We see all kinds of weird places where there's just swaths of nature that has confusingly died, and we don't know why. And besides the fact that it's not so much the pesticides, not the pesticides aren't horrible as well for bees, but nicotinamide, I think it is. Anyways, that along with frequencies, magnetic frequencies, Bluetooth, wireless, all these things are in the air, and that's what's actually confusing the shit out of bees. They see, supposedly, I think it's red is south and blue is red. They see by the magnetic poles, is what I've read. And if they can't find that direction from which way they came, they get lost, and that's where the colony collapse actually happens. So now we're talking about shungite. Shungite actually helps them. We have this powder, we have these nuggets, and the nuggets actually spread out, obviously create this sphere around them that protects their hive. And then I guess they roll, very similar to like eating mycelium. Bees in nature know what the hell's going on. They know what's up. They know what they need. But I guess they'll roll or like vibrate this dust onto themselves to protect themselves. So it's pretty cool. Nature knows what the hell to do with it when we give it what it wants and what it needs, even though it may be a little bit, it may literally be a little foreign to them.
So it protects you from some of these waves. Is there any quality interference with this that you found or no?
No, and I have totally tried those stickers before. Seriously, I was so excited when that happened because I've been into this stuff, protection, whatever it is, being very aware and conscious. You start, it's no tin hat foil shit. It's literally making sure that you're aware of what's going on around there, because historically there's been some very, very heinous things and traumatic things that have happened on this planet. So for us to be critical thinkers and think very clearly, I've had one of those stickers way back in the day. I put it on and it sucked. My phone had horrible service. So what's the point of putting this on my phone if I can't get calls? That's totally counterintuitive. These, no problem. Haven't noticed a single thing at all. It's on my phone 24/7.
That's awesome, man. I actually just put it on my phone as we're chatting right now. I've been waiting to do it because I wanted to speak with you about it, but it's now on my phone, so that's awesome. Another product I was going to ask you about, the CBD bubble bath formula. I was wondering if you can explain just to the listeners about medicinal benefits of soaking in the type of formula.
Yeah, so our bubble bath formula, I will say the medicinal qualities of that, and we're probably going to start adding some magnesium to it as well. A lot of our formulas, I will say, are pretty much blank, as in we don't add, not yet, the immunity is our first one, we don't really add flavoring, we don't add any scents, and so the palette is clean. In other words, this bubble bath that just happened to turn purple when I added these ingredients into it, which was really cool, went from white to purple, so that was some magic that happened. It has no flavor. Well, actually, it might have some flavor now, not that it's supposed to have flavor. It did. It tasted normal before until I added this amino, and anyways, it has no scent. That's amazing for your body, because what it is I'm going to talk about bath bombs for a second. Bath bombs are really great too, but a lot of companies may be confused by using hemp oil or CBD oil in a bath bomb. Not to say that you're not going to get some of that. Not to say that some of it's not going to stick to your skin. But oil floats on water, doesn't it? So what you may be getting when you're getting a bath bomb and paying a lot of money for it, you're still getting some CBD. But what you're really getting is probably the sodium bicarbonate, the magnesium, the other things, the terpenes that they're putting inside of this that are calming themselves. So you feel great. Already hot water is calming. Then you add these other elements, these nutrients and minerals. Those are also calming as well. They feel great on your skin and your body. And then you add CBD. Well, is the CBD actually getting to you? If somebody has horrible pain, maybe it actually is working. The catch is that oil floats on top. So unless it's a water soluble powder, that they're not actually soaking in the actual CBD. So the cool thing about ours is, one, it's our elixir. I literally took our elixir. I was trying to find surfactants. We bought some natural organic, about 20 different ingredients, bubble bath, and we didn't like it. It didn't bubble that great. pretty much when we buy somebody else's stuff, we've done this multiple times and we don't do it anymore. We formulate everything ourselves from the ground up because it just doesn't work and it's not our stuff, right? We're trying to remake somebody else's, add something to it. We've done that before and it just was a joke. So we scrapped that idea, and one day my buddy, business partner, is going, why can't we just use the elixir? Because we can use the elixir in the hot tub. All this idea came from making something for our hot tubs that wouldn't clog the vents, right? And so filters. And so I think, all right, let me think on this for a little bit. So then I went to the back to the research and dug into surfactants, and I ended up finding this really cool one called Planetarian 1200. So it's a laurel. It comes from coconuts as well, and it's one of our main ingredients. And it's a great bubbling agent. It really is. But surface tension, there's a lot of different things that you want to add to it. And then I ended up finding this really cool amino acid. It's actually made from apples. 2 ingredients added to our elixir that you drink, and that's our bubble bath. So, and I can't say it's organic, but it's pretty freaking natural. These are from natural sources that have been obviously restructured. And before I added the aminos, which actually made it taste a little bit more like soap, it didn't taste like anything. You could actually taste the bubble bath, and it just tasted like our elixir. It was crazy. So be due to the fact that it's in and the bubbles are amazing now. I'm so happy with them. You pump that sucker in. I had bubbles an hour later after I finally perfected this formula. So much that, I had bubble beard. I had bubbles coming over my shoulders still. It was super fun, right? Act like a kid again. But yeah, I mean, it's working for a lot of people. We've had one individual that said that she's tried a lot of bath bombs, and this is a super cannabis family. Their daughter has autism. Dad had major problems. He was got in an accident, like we speak, a race car driver. Mom had her own things, and so she has issues downstairs. And she said that this was one of the very first times she tried something and soaked in something that actually helped her take away her pain. So that was pretty cool. I really can't tell you. I'm a horrible guinea pig. I've been wiped out every single time I try and test it out. But it seems like a lot of people like it a lot. They like the bubbles. It's just cool. It's very cool. There's I'm going to say it, and that's fine. If other people want to go make it, go ahead. But there's probably only about 2 or 3 of us products on the market that I know of that make bubble bath. Everybody else, there's a lot of people that say bubble bath, but it's actually bubbling bath, as in fizzing from the sodium bicarbonate. So when you do look it up, you'll find a lot of bubble baths, but they're not actually bubble baths.
Azmyth, I'm gonna toss a couple curveballs at you before we get to the end of the show here.
All right.
Well, what's the most important advice you've ever received?
Just in general, the best. I mean, sure. Acting. Listen. Learn how to listen. And that's something I have to tell myself constantly as well, because it's probably worked out fine on this call. But how often do we have the thoughts, all of us, we're all guilty of this, having thoughts going on in our heads while somebody else is talking, and we're ready for that rebuttal, we're ready for that joke, we're ready for whatever that is, when it may not even matter by the time they get to the end of their conversation or their part in the conversation. So being able to listen, like seriously, learn how to listen, how to critically listen to other people and care about what they're saying, so that when you respond, it actually is genuine. It's not just halfway through the conversation and you're like, all right, cool, I got it. I got what I want to say. Yeah, right. But they've got another minute of talking, and that may be irrelevant at this time.
Right.
So really learning how to listen to each other, because that's such a massive part of conversation, even in social media, right? Listen to somebody to learn how to respond. Take a breath before you respond instead of just reacting. You're not listening when you're reacting. You're listening to what you are putting through your filter on your end, and then turning it and putting it back to them deranged oftentimes, or or your biased way.
Right. It's good to have some context, right, when you're coming back. My next curveball for you is, have you heard of Bitcoin?
Sure. I'm looking at your Bitcoin sign right now.
Yeah? What have you heard?
I've got a lot of friends that are involved in it. I've had a very low interest in money for a very long time. I understand it's a tool. So to me, money, it's just another form of money. I've seen what money's done. Bitcoin is great. I've got a lot of friends that have made a lot of money off of it, that have started companies, that have started coins. That's more of a little bit different technological level that I don't really walk in, but I do know it. And it's another step in another way, getting away from this fiat currency paper. Not that I want it to be null and void, because once things disappear from physicality, they lose a lot of their ability to actually be owned. Not that I like ownership much either, but the fact that once somebody has the button that can go bleep, sorry, I even know I get blockchain technology and understanding a lot of that, but we don't understand technology fully. Even though we see it right now, it can always change, right?
Absolutely. I look at it as a tool like any other piece of technology. Can be used for good and it could also be used for bad. But you were talking about money and fiat currency, and I just want to say like the main thing for Bitcoin is that there's a cap on it, right? Whereas we're seeing right now they're printing endless amounts of money to do whatever they can to keep the economy afloat, whereas Bitcoin is sort of like a protection of that, and that's kind of where I try to raise awareness for people as there's an alternative system for you out there. Doesn't have to all be centralized control. Azmyth, can you let us all know where to follow you on social media and where to get your products?
Yeah, all right. So you can pretty much look up Azmyth Kaminski. That's Azmyth, Azmyth Unofficial on Instagram, YouTube /Azmyth. As I've started to put some more content up here pretty quick on YouTube, and you can look up Everyday Natural Products. Look that up, or look up EMPstore.com is our website, and social media everywhere, all over that. The petition that I just dropped the other day, that came from Project Monkey Wrench, or Monkey Wrench Project. There's a lot of different creations that we have out there that I'm starting to put into function, and we're having a lot of fun, man. We're keeping things bright, keeping things light, letting people know what's going on out there as much as we possibly can, helping people stay healthy. It's just all the good stuff that we can do out here for each other,
Yeah, definitely. I think the world really needs it right now. That's why I was really excited to talk to you about your natural products and things that can help through this, these hard times for everybody. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, of course. We just dropped this petition the other day after I got all fired up because of what Jay Inslee, our governor, decided to do on March 12th. He decided to put into law. I don't even know why it got put into law. Anyways, they passed a bill that I don't understand it truly, that in 2021 we're going to start implementing, and I'm not manifesting this at all. They want to start implementing, thanks to Microsoft and Amazon, facial recognition software surveillance, right? And so it's already starting to happen. What has happened in China, not going to let that happen. It's Bill 6280, and you go online and look at my Facebook page, you'll definitely find the petition. Please go out there and sign that sucker. I don't care if you're in the area. I do care if you're not in the area, but it doesn't matter if you're not in the area. Please share it widely. If this technology is something that you want us to stay aware of, right? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that it's something that when somebody does something behind closed doors during a lockdown and their sessions should be out, it kind of seems weird, especially when I've got a document on this saying that, there's no oversight commission. He actually vetoed it. Our governor vetoed the oversight commission because there's not enough money in the budget. The senator this is fun. The senator that championed this, Joe Nugent, he moonlights at Microsoft, who is one of the companies that can benefit from this. And then he works at Olympia. Sounds like a conflict of interest. So things are weird out there. We're seeing a lot of this crap going on. The one thing I want to say is please stay aware. Listen to all sides of the coin, the Bitcoin. Take it all in and seriously think critically about it. Don't just jump to an opinion. Don't just say, I don't like that. I don't resonate with it. It doesn't fit my vibe, or they're crazy. Seriously, please investigate for yourself. Go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Take that wave until it breaks, until you feel like you've understood it a little bit better, because at least it might shed a little bit of light on the current scenario that we are all in, and it might affect, you might, just by the way that you think now, might have a better conversation with somebody in the future, and you might help change somebody else's mind. That might be very beneficial to the human cause of making sure that we are all free, we are all supported, and we are all taking care of each other and looking out for one another like we are this one gigantic beautiful family on this planet, instead of fighting wars on our own spaceship in different parts of the freaking ship and just spewing shit everywhere. That's it. So it's a beautiful time right now. Everything's amazing. Thank you very much, Brad, for bringing me on. I had a great time chatting with you, and I'll share this out to all my people too.
Thank you all for listening to episode 23 of the Halving Report. If you like today's content, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out the show notes to get quick links to all the things that we talked about here today.